Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Audrey Ford coming to you live from the Inland Baptist Church. Today, we're reminding you that while in California it's not that cold, the rest of the nation still does need to bundle up. So if you're planning on traveling anytime soon, you need to keep these weather stories in mind as they highlight the current crisis facing the majority of the United States. For example, First Energy Utilities has been preparing for snow and extreme cold in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Maryland, and West Virginia. They've warned customers in these particular states where the sub-zero temperatures are hitting particularly hard that if an outage occurs, they need to call 1-888-LIGHTS or 4877, so that's lights with two S's on it, to report the outage. But they want everyone to keep in mind that you're going to be relying on your smartphones to be making these calls, so you need to make sure you keep those batteries charged while the power is still with you. They also state you can text REG to 544487 should your power decide to go out on you. And they're going to do everything they can to address the problem to make sure your family doesn't suffer in the cold. The Northeast and the Midwest in general, however, are also facing severe difficulties with the icy temperatures. They've warned that melt-related flooding has been causing pipe damage in the majority of the Northeast and Midwest of the United States, and they've warned customers to call 1-800-RESPOND for any house crises with the piping and 1-800-REACT for businesses. Mike Pierce, the Chief Development Officer for Service Master, stated, "Our national franchise network is ready to mobilize 24/7, 365 days a year, especially during these difficult winter temperatures. We're going to make sure our customers don't experience anything like the exploding pipes we're seeing in the majority of this region of the United States." But, ladies and gentlemen, people would also like to remind you, especially Feeding America, the largest domestic hunger relief organization, that if your power goes out, you should be grateful because that means you had power in the first place. They're reminding everyone that millions of low-income families in the United States this year are choosing between heat and food. Most of these families live on a month-to-month basis, and because of their budgets, they have to choose whether they want to keep their families warm at night or if they want to have warm food in their stomachs. This has caused a spike in food stamp production and in people applying for welfare to make sure they can afford things like rent and their heating and utilities costs. Because this is the coldest winter in the last 20 years, a lot of families are facing difficulties, especially those that aren't as well off as the rest of us. When we come back, we'll hear how to keep your fire sprinkler system in check and what Jell-O has to do with the Yukon Quest race this year. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsors. Have you ever heard someone tell you they can't get out of their chair? They can't walk across the room? They can't help you with helping the dogs get across the street because their feet hurt. And the shoes they chose to wear just aren't comfortable. You've probably heard that a lot, considering this campus is kind of spread out. Well, I'm here from Magic Insoles to tell you what you can do to solve this problem. For 19 easy payments of $200, we can give you the Magic Insoles that adjust to any type of shoe you want to wear. All you do is put the insole in, and it adjusts perfectly to your feet to make sure that no matter what blisters, bunions, calluses, or arch problems you may be experiencing, your shoes will fit you perfectly. So even those massive platforms are going to be possible for you to wear for your next apologetic speech, and your daughter won't be able to tell you her DI is too difficult to give just because her shoes are pinching on her toes. Now, back to our story. Fire sprinkler systems around the United States have been freezing up recently, so people are recommending that you conduct physical inspections, annual surveys of proper drainage systems, and monitor the boilers to make sure that if a fire occurs during these winter months, your sprinklers actually work and actually put out the fire. But while those are freezing up, the Yukon Quest is sludging up. With over 45,000 pounds of dog food stashed at 9 checkpoints along the 1,600-kilometer track, last year's champion Alan Moore had this to say about the knee-deep melting rivers. "If I get wet, my dogs get wet, we freeze, and that's no fun. He stated for the racers this year that you should get Jell-O like beaver meat for your dogs so that it's like an energy shot for them and they're able to finish the race strong. In conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to remind you to bundle up, especially if you're traveling into the Northeast or the Midwest of the United States, and keep safe this winter because it's a cold one. I'm Audrey Ford, signing off.